Welcome to the Modernize or Die Podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the ColdFusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community. Welcome to the Modernize or Die Podcast, CFML News Edition, episode 160. It's August 9th. 2022, and I'm joined by Eric Peterson. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, Gavin, how's it going?
Doing okay. It's another Tuesday. Getting close into the box, so the weeks are getting a little tighter.
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Let's thank our sponsors first, Ortus Solutions. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast. So they are the makers of ColdBox, CommandBox, ForgeBox, TestBox, and all of your other boxes out there. And a few ways we can say thanks back to Ortus Solutions. The number one way is buy some ITB tickets. Come to the conference in Houston, have a few laughs, learn a lot, hurt your brain, but come away, passionate and inspired to do great, amazing things with ColdFusion, right? That's what I always get out of the conferences. The passion that I get out of it at the end is pretty cool. What are some other ways they should support Ortus Solutions and say thank you?
You can like and subscribe to these videos on YouTube. Star our repos on GitHub. Listen to this podcast and subscribe. Thank you. Sign up for a free or paid account on CFCasts, which releases new content every week. Buy something from our awesome Box Life store. Or you can get the 102 ColdBox quick tips and tricks over on Gumroad.
Yep, and then we obviously want to thank our Patreon supporters, because without them, Ortus would be footing the bill for all of this. And so thanks to our 37 patrons we have right now, we're actually able to fully fund this podcast and our other Modernize or Die podcasts, which is great news. And we're actually 44% of the way through to funding the hosting of ForgeBox.io. So the cloud hosting, Docker, S3, all of that stuff that makes it work. Without the Patreon supporters, Ortus would be paying all of it, and that would leave less money to do other things, so we're very grateful for that. Okay, so news and announcements. Let's get into it. The first thing on my list is there was a Lucee Release Roadmap put out by Zach and the team, and it's kind of cool to see what they're working on, what's left, and what might be coming up very soon. So I'm going to share my screen for those watching. But 5.3.9, they're working on it right now, and there's just a few regressions that they're trying to get cleaned up, and so they should have an RC that would have been last Friday. So if they have a release candidate out, it should be very soon. And then 6.0 beta, they got a lot of blockers they still need to address, but it's kind of a big rewrite, really. So I'm excited about this one. Have you seen much about that, Eric?
I mean, I've been hearing about 6.0 since 2019 at a CF camp, so lots of ideas coming out. I'll be interested to see what actually gets into the 6.0 beta.
Yep, they've got
lots of cool things though.
Yeah, 158 tickets so far with another 56 pending patches. There's a lot of breaking changes, 29 breaking changes to make Lucee better. And obviously they're looking for security too and trying to make it compatible with ACF. But yeah, and then they've also got the 5.3.10, because not everyone's going to go to 6, but they are going to try and bring back, bug fixes and security fixes to the 5-point branch to keep it alive. But after that, they've got a backlog of bugs for sort of the future stuff. A lot of it will be based with syntax, so they're trying to make it more more usable, more friendly, and it'll be pretty cool. So I am excited to see it. Sounds like it's getting closer and closer, so hopefully we'll have a announcement from them very soon too. So that's pretty big news, I think, there. And then today in Slack, we just got a message from Luis that WireBox Object Delegators are now born. Have you seen anything about this yet, Eric? It's pretty new.
Yeah, I have seen some stuff about this. So you'll be able to access this on the bleeding edge of CommandBox or WireBox up on ForgeBox right now. And it's a way to kind of do, if you will, mix-ins or to ease the composition headaches of objects. So I've linked to a Notion doc that Luis has written up that will show you the examples. But it's a way to say, hey, this object delegates a lot of these methods to one of its injected properties. And instead of making me wire it up manually, let me put a delegate keyword on it and do it for me, please.
Yeah,
so
now
you can take a look at it and see how that works. The notes doc is very
that,
exhaustive. It probably will become the docs, if I was guessing.
is that public though? That's my question.
I can access it in an incognito window, so yes,
Okay.
it is.
Very cool. I posted the Jira one too, just in case. So, yeah, it looks pretty cool. The first I heard about it was yesterday, and it's already there. So that's pretty slick. So it'll be out. Yeah, all the tests are being built and everything. It's looking pretty slick. So more things to try out.
Where if you don't need it, that's fine. If you need it, you're gonna really be excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, next up we have a little sort of announcement from Lucee. Guess they had a few last week, and that was about reducing a priority of concurrent requests. And so apparently this has been in there since like Raylo 1 for some stuff, but I guess you're having they're giving more control and it's doing more. But I thought it was interesting. Basically, it's to help with uncoordinated DDoS attacks. So they're trying to make them less effective against Lucee, which is a good thing. But some people were responding saying, two interesting things here. Basically, the way Lucee reduces priority of threads running more than 10 seconds, people are like, well, what about long active running threads? Like if they get deprioritized and they're maybe locking things, it could be a blocker or whatnot. And so they're looking at that and taking them into consideration. But apparently, like I said, Raylo has been doing it for a long time with stuff like that. But it's affecting the JVM, not the the database query or whatever is taking a long time. But that might be something to think about if you do have long-running requests, because Lucee is deprioritizing them. So I thought that was interesting. I never heard of that before. So anyway, just wanted to share that, and it's kind of cool that discussing it more. And I really like that the open source side of Lucee. You learn a lot more about how things work and everything than Adobe's little black box. But there's definitely good things about black boxes sometimes. And then
in case you missed it, the CFAlive podcast, episode 117, was part 3 of their Adobe and Lucee Roundtable discussion. This time with Charlie Earhart, Gert Franz, Mark Drew, and Ben Nadal. This was talking about future CFML, so all the cool new features coming, performance improvements, engine updates, comparing, contrasting Lucee and Adobe's approaches. So if you haven't, you can go give that one a listen. That's episode 117.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The last 3 roundtables they've had, it's cool to have a panel of people talking about different things and different perspectives, and I'm really enjoying listening to some of those. So pretty cool. We have some into the box updates too. So for those been listening to the podcast, about our pre-conference. We've done a couple of blog posts about it too. But I'm going to share my screen here. If we go down to schedule, you'll now see we have a third tab. So we have this pre-conference, which is Monday the 29th, the 30th, 31st, and then September 1st and 2nd. So you can see we got Ray and Mark and Charlie, Brian Rinaldi, Kai Koenig, Matthew Clemente, Michael Bourne, and we got 3 more sessions that are going to be announced very shortly. We're just waiting on final confirmations from a few big speakers, so we should have that there. And fingers crossed, we might actually have Lucee talking a little bit more about the Lucee changes and updates and the releases. So again, I won't tell you the other 2, but we're working on finalizing that. But so now the schedule is there, so you guys can plan ahead. And then remember, we've got the conference the following week, so day 1 and day 2 for the tracks, and then right above you can see all the awesome workshops there. So we're getting pretty close though, so lots of stuff happening into the box. There are still a few seats left for the workshops, so getting pretty close to filling up a couple of them, so don't miss your chance. Go get that at intothebox.org. Okay, next up we have new releases and updates, and this one here I'm just going to quickly cover. If you guys are using the image extension in Lucee, they just fixed a bug. Image file would basically, if you had an invalid image file, it wouldn't release the lock that it was using to read it if it was a valid image. So if you went to say is image file on say like a ColdFusion file, it would actually lock the file and won't release it. So they fixed that bug. So hopefully it didn't affect too many people, but that bug has been fixed. So good to see that.
In case you missed it, CFConfig has been updated with support for Lucee Scheduled tasks. It already had supported scheduled tasks in Adobe ColdFusion, but thanks to a sponsor, it now works also in Lucee.
Very cool. And then we also had ColdBox 6.8.0 released. So if you guys are using ColdBox, the new one is out. There's quite a lot of cool stuff in that one. So you will want to check that one out. And quite a few bugs fixes, a few improvements, a couple new features, and a task as well. So lots of cool stuff going there.
This was I'm calling this the async logging release. It made it so that we are much more, how do we put it? Before, all the logs just went to your standard out or error for async tasks. Now it will go to Logbox, so you can use all the power of Logbox to send it where you would like. Very nice.
Yep, for sure. Okay. And then quite a few people have been talking about it, and we have a whole slew of blog posts from Adobe about their new Adobe CFML VS Code extension released in public beta. And so you can get that from the marketplace, visualstudio.com. So we'll share that link as well. And then, so you'll see all of the cool stuff in the blogs, tweets, and videos section, because Mark Takata's been on a marketing storm. So... okay, so next up we have webinars and workshops, and we actually have one coming up very soon from Ortus, and it's going to be a team event. So we're actually going to try and mix up the format a little bit, make it basically a Q&A, because it's going to be right before the conference. So it's going to be August 26th, so the week before the pre-conference, we're going to be having a Ortus team Into the Box preview and Q&A. So some of the Ortus team from the core are going to just come hang out, answer a few questions, talk about what's coming up and some of the things to be aware of and to plan for, and basically a Q&A from the chat and just anything else you want to know. So we might even have a couple of last-minute surprise announcements ready for you there too. So
we love our surprises.
Yep. So that's August 26th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Central. So if you guys want to register now, the link is available. And then we have some Adobe workshops coming up, right? And webinars.
That's right. We have one on Tuesday, August 9th, which that's today. This just happened.
Yep.
Probably done by now, because that was Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
They're a good 12 hours different than us. Next one coming up for Adobe, there is on August 18th, making games with Adobe ColdFusion. And then it jumps into September and November for some other workshops. You can get the full list on their website, which we'll include in the show notes.
Yep. The cool thing is they're all free, but the little list is nice that they're putting it in advance. So, very good to see. So that wraps up our webinars. CFCasts. So CFCasts is our video training resource. We got lots of great content there, free. We've also got some paid content as well, and a lot of new series have been released recently. So in addition to our ForgeBox Module of the Week clips and our VS Code hint, tip, and trick clips from the podcast itself, we've been doing a lot with the Logbox 101 series, and Eric, it's been pretty awesome. So you've just released episode 11, the async appender.
That's right. It goes over how to make sure that your logging doesn't slow down the rest of your requests.
Very cool.
Pretty simple to do inside of Logbox.
Yep. Yeah, I really like the Logbox series, because Logbox is something really powerful, but most people don't know how to use it, and it's something we kind of gloss over. So it's great that it has its own little series there, and got more coming soon, right? So
yeah, there are 3 videos left. The next one should drop tomorrow, and once a week until it's over. So it will end just before Into the Box.
Very cool. And then we got some more videos coming out from the ForgeBox and VS Code snippets from the podcast. I'm working on a new series, boxifying a third-party library, and you're working on a ColdBox Elixir one, right?
That's right.
So, yep, there's lots of great content in there, and it'll be coming soon. So keep an eye out on CFCasts. And again, if you are not sure if you want to attend Into the Box this year, go check out some of the videos from last year. We've made some of them available for free, so you can just get a free account and then go check them out, and then you'll want to go sign up and check out the whole conference. This year's going to be awesome, so we hope you'll make it. But we got the little taste test, gateway drug videos up there for you to check out for free. Okay, next up we have conferences. So first up, we actually have a hackathon that's already started. So apparently now through August 29th, there is a Redis hackathon on the dev website. So they partnered up with Redis for a community hackathon and give you a chance to build new application using Redis or simplify a complex backend. So anyone who submits a valid project, basically published on dev, will automatically be entered to win a variety of fantastic prizes up to a couple of $1,000 US. And apparently Dev does quite a few of these hackathons for different things, and they're pretty creative, lots of fun. And so basically now through the end of August, if you want to work on some Redis stuff, post it to the dev.to blog and everything, and yeah, you could be in to win a couple of $1,000, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yep, and remember, we have extensions for Redis in ColdFusion, so you can do that in ColdFusion. I haven't looked at the rules of what you have to build or how to build it, but sounds like fun. So what do we got next?
Yeah, Into the Box. It is, again, quickly coming. Pre-conference August 29th through September 2nd. And then the conference with workshops on the 6th and the 2 days on the 7th and 8th.
Yep, intothebox.org. Go get your tickets. And then 1 month later, if you're still up for more conferences, at the Mirage in Las Vegas, Nevada, CF Summit will be officially having, I think it's, I'm trying to remember the year. I don't remember the year exactly of how many they've had, but it's going to be their big conference. It's going to be on the 3rd and 4th of October, and their the 5th is actually going to be Adobe Certified Professional, sort of, it's basically last day of training and then testing for their certification after you do 100 hours of videos all on your own beforehand. And I think that the early bird pricing is about to cut off if it hasn't already, because they had some pretty good deals there. So if you get the pass, you can pay extra and just do the 3rd day, or they can come to a training, right, Eric?
All right. On the 5th and 6th, right after ColdFusion Summit, is the Ortus ColdFusion Summit training, ColdBox 0 to Mega Hero. The whole caboodle.
Yep.
So this is led by Luis and our very own Gavin Pickin here. It's $7.99 early bird pricing, and it is 2 days of great training in a luxurious executive hospitality suite.
Yep, we've been in these suites before. We really like them. We had a lot of fun. It was a great environment. We could hang out before and enjoy, lunches there, and it really was good. And we got a lot of great content for you to learn and then get your hands-on training too. So like our normal trainings, we try and make it very hands-on. We have a lot of TAs helping, so we're going to try and get as many TAs per student as we can, and make sure that you guys are keeping up and getting that hands-on experience you need to, when you leave, have an app ready, and then be able to do that when you get back. So we know that's the best way to learn, is to actually get in there and get your hands dirty in the code right away. So it's going to be great. Then later this year, we have Into the Box Latam, and that's we've got 2 dates right now, the December 5th or 7th. We're waiting for a final date, but basically start of December, save that, and that's going to be in El Salvador again. And then no CF Camp this year, but they're still looking for summer 2023. So we're can't wait to get back out there and get to a CF Camp. I've never made it, so can't wait for that. And then if you need more conferences, conf.tech have plenty of conferences for you, online, in person, whatever language, wherever you want to be. So go get those. Okay. Blogs, tweets, and videos of the week. You want to start us off with the Adobe Corner?
Yes, as you mentioned, Mark has gone full bore into giving us the lowdown on what the Adobe VS Code extension can do. Talks about, I believe we have 4 or 5 blog posts about it. I might be counting wrong there. So we'll just give you those rapid fire. Talks about the quick fix panel, including VS Code, making new components, code refactoring, like renaming symbols. That would be, instead of just the find and replace, which you might be like, yeah, I can already do that. It will analyze your code and say, this is used on this place. So like if it's a .get method, it would say, what component is it being used on? And I'll rename only those ones instead of all of them. Code Assist, Security Analyzer, Code Profiling, RDS integration, and the server panel. So lots of features there. It's fun to see what they are supposed to do here in the blog post. I'm still a little bitter because it doesn't work at all, and I'm not getting any support on their support forums. So I'm calling them out here. Like, answer the support forums. There's a lot of us that this extension does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know a few people have been talking about that in the Box Slack, Box Team Slack channel about, how do you get it working with this or that, and we haven't had too many people say it is working for them. So I'm kind of curious if there's just some setting we're missing, or maybe we don't have the engines installed the right way or something, or if there's like some setting we're supposed to set or whatnot. But I know it's been working for months for Mark and everything, so there should be something in there. So we're hoping that they can give us a little quick, suggestion and get up and running, because it does look like it does some pretty cool stuff, really. I know everyone's been waiting a long time for it, so yeah. Okay, now we get back to the rest of them, the community corner, and we've got a tweet actually from James Moberg, and I'm going to share my screen for this one because this looks pretty cool. So he says, any ColdFusion developers working with legacy ColdFusion code? I pretty much think that's a given. He's almost finished developing a CFC that will standardize or modernize tags, functions, and member functions, attributes, operators, and SQL case. And so it basically says no more manual search and replace. And so the image looks like he has a conversion tool, almost like basically like the CF script me, which takes some tags and sort of goes to script. So he's actually looking at a way to sort of check your code, analyze it, give you some rules, which I thought was kind of interesting. It sounds like code checker type stuff, but if it does sort of the find and replace itself, it's kind of interesting. So it's got the original on the left and then the modernized on the right. So kind of curious how it's going to be.
One extra thing here is that CF format can do a bit of this, and it taps into CF docs to use the CF docs version of the built-in functions.
Interesting.
So I'd have to look up the exact configuration that it has in there, but it will take, just like he's doing with dollar format and all these different ways, and it will format it the way that CF docs has it. And so that's one thing I like to use. James's here does more like with the scopes and things like that. But that's also something that's interesting that you can look at, is CF format for modernizing and dealing with all the different ways that you've tried to format code over the years.
Yeah, I know James didn't want to do the prettifier type stuff, so that's why he was working on something like this. I've been watching the little thread, but he is attempting to follow the Ortus standards, so that's kind of cool. So we can see how that works and everything. But yeah, so it'll be cool to see, and he says he's going to try and share it. So more tools like this, the better. And the good thing is with our community, if we can work together, we can just keep on improving, and everyone's life gets better, and that's sort of the goal. So very cool. Thanks for sharing that, James, and definitely curious how that's going to turn out. So we did have a quick blog on the Ortus blog, basically just our content digest. So every Friday we try and give you like a little blurb of all the bits and pieces we've been doing. So that covers a lot of the stuff we cover on the podcast, but a few other things too, like if there's any other YouTube videos, or sometimes we have other podcasts that we get featured on, or other things we do. So that's available on the Ortus Solutions blog as well. Oh. Yep, sorry, I'll gotta get the link out there for Charlie. He's asking about that. So, but yeah, it's just a tweet at this point, Charlie. But hopefully he'll be sharing more of that very soon. And then we'll share the the Ortus blog as well for the content digest.
Speaking of things that are just teasing us in tweets, Brad has one himself saying that he thinks he's finally cracked the client cert authentication in ColdBox. A huge thing for our government clients. Says, let me know if you want to help test it. So it's not released yet. It probably is in the bleeding edge if I know Brad. But yeah, lots of fun things coming, but not quite here yet.
Yep. And then we had another blog from Dan Card. He's got a little series about integrating ColdBox with existing code, and he's up to part 4, which is more integration. And so that builds on top of the webinar series. He actually gave one webinar, and then right after that, it actually had another a follow-up one because there were so many questions about the webinar, which was good. So this one is talking more about converting and more integration stuff. So different ways to achieve the integration. And there's one more coming up. It should be released tomorrow in that series. So it's been I think 5 parts total. So good series from Dan on that one. And we already mentioned we have the Lucee roadmap, so 6.0, 5.3.9, and the 5.3.10 roadmap. So we'll share that link again if you want to read more about it. And then we found another blog post, which was pretty interesting. ColdFusion development alive and well, says Bang developers. So that made me think, who is Bang? But I'll share my screen for those looking. It's a really good blog post, about ColdFusion development being alive and well, and some of the history of ColdFusion and everything. So before you even jumped onto this stuff, Eric, it talks about the different versions of ColdFusion, sort of like some of the key points, and they talked about some of the applications they've built and everything. But I thought it was kind of cool that they had the history. They're tying into the stats that Brad released not too long ago. But talked about the Alere to Macromedia to Adobe history here, and some of the information they pulled from the Wikipedia page. But yeah, so I just thought it was nice, sort of like informational marketing type stuff. So if somebody says, why bother doing it or whatever, why bother using ColdFusion, like we have to quite often argue about that. It was sort of a nice post, so I thought we'd share that one as well. Okay, so next up we have CFML jobs. So how many jobs we got new this week, Eric?
We have 2 new jobs this week. We have a web and data developer at Clinton, New York, or remote. And we have an application developer, temporary, remote here in the United States as well.
Yep.
There are still 116 ColdFusion positions listed on getcfmljobs.com from 62 companies, 55 locations, and 5 countries. Additionally, we have our own job openings here at Ortus Solutions. You can see that at ortussolutions.com/about-us/careers.
Yep.
Tomorrow's guide is looking for a senior ColdFusion developer, a remote UK-based job. We have one for
I think it's Hamilton College, I believe.
Hamilton College.
Yeah, so we saw that.
And there is also a jobs channel in the CFML Slack team and the Box team Slack team.
Yep, so lots of great stuff available there if you're looking. Check out those resources. And if you have a job, let us know, and we'll try and list you here if it's not on the Get CFML Jobs site, and we'll try and get those filled for you. Okay, so next up we have our ForgeBox module of the week. And this is a real new one. I never heard of this one before, but we have one called Error Filter. And so this is actually one made by Dan Card, and one of our patrons is actually the one who inspired it. So John Wilson's from Synaptrix. Let me share my screen here. But basically this ColdBox module allows you to filter error messages to remove unwanted fields and items in the tag context array to reduce noise, make those error items more readable. So basically before you send it off to Logbox or whatever, you can actually get an instance of the error filter from the module, and then basically send it through the run method, and then it'll basically strip out a bunch of extra stuff. So a lot of times it's dealing with a lot of Java stuff under the covers and things that you don't actually need. You're just looking for the ColdFusion pieces, so you can try and track down what the core part of the error is. But yeah, this module just does that. Looks like we got a couple.
The thing that's nice about this is when you're dealing with errors in your application, it's usually not the frameworks you're using. right? Especially as you're getting going, you're probably, maybe you didn't use it right, you didn't call it in the place you need. You just want to see your code, and you want to hide everything that TestBox did or everything that ColdBox did, and just show me my code that I wrote, so I can find the error that my typo.
Yep.
So this is a great way to do that, to filter out kind of the noise when you don't need that.
Yeah, so I hadn't actually used that before, but that's going to be installed very quickly, because that's one thing. Yeah, the stack traces are really useful, but sometimes it's 90% noise, right? So
I hope we can get that integrated into the whoops error page for ColdBox.
oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Because the whoops is trying to be that, like, hey, this is a nice way to do it. And even if we don't like take out the stack frames, we like collapse them, and we're like, hey, there's like 10 framework frames here that you probably don't care about. You can click here to expand them.
Yeah, maybe have like a spotlight view of it, and then you got the full stack trace if you need to dive deeper or something. Yeah.
Right.
Yep, that sounds pretty cool. There you go, Eric. Some more work for you to do.
Nope. I am chock full of work right now.
Okay, well, let's jump to VS Code, because
so we wanted this week to highlight. They have a new experimental feature in VS Code that's like keeps your function at the top of the window as you scroll, but it does not work really almost at all with CFML code, unfortunately. So I threw one in that's less VS Code, more just general command line. It's a git alias that I use. I use all the time. I saw it as nah, like NAH, like nah, I don't want that kind of idea. It's an alias to get reset hard and get clean any untracked files. So basically, if I'm on a branch and I've done work and I'm like, this is garbage, or I need to switch to another branch and I don't want what it is, I can do git nah, and it just deletes everything, and I can switch to the next branch. So
yeah. And funny, in New Zealand, there's a saying, when somebody asks you something and you want to say no, they say yeah, nah. And then if you actually want to say yeah, you say nah, yeah. Like, it's like, we'll just say both of them and just have the most important one at the end.
Order.
Yeah, it's confused the hell out of me last time I was there. But apparently, yeah, people go, yeah, nah. Like, yeah, that's a good idea, but nah, I don't want to do it. So, like, that's the first thing I thought of when you say git nah. Like, yeah, I kind of want to do it, but no, it's crap. Let's get rid of it. Let's start again.
So we'll include the code that sets up this alias. It's all built into like the git command line. That's still kind of where I do most of my like add and commit work. If it's anything more than add and commit, I'm in some sort of GUI. But when it's that, yeah, I'm usually doing like git nah and then check out a new branch kind of idea.
Yep.
So
pretty cool.
Hopefully it helps you too, because I don't remember git reset, soft versus hard versus git clean. Yeah, all of that. So I have a little alias for it.
Oh, apparently Daniel has one that does the same thing, but it's get rid. Get rid of that.
Nice. Get rid. I like that.
That's pretty cool too.
So yeah, and you can call it whatever you'd like. So.
Yeah, aliases are cool. I like those.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we want to thank all of our Patreon supporters, and we actually have a new one in here. Richard Herbert is being added to our list. So, what's the keyword for this week, Eric? Because I know you like to always, give a...
These are our inspiring Patreon supporters.
There you go. You guys are inspiring. Awesome. Okay, so these individuals are personally supporting our open source initiatives to make great tools like CommandBox, ForgeBox, ColdBox, TestBox, and all the other boxes. And obviously, like we said, it helps fund this podcast. It also helps fund the cloud infrastructure that our community relies on for ForgeBox with package management through CommandBox, and all the hosting and S3 file bills. So that's a big help there. And you can support us on patreon.com/ordersolutions. But they also get some perks, right? Because we're not just taking money for nothing.
Awesome perks. So all Patreon supporters have a special profile badge on our community website, community.ordersolutions.com, access to their own private forum on that website, and a private channel on the Box Team Slack. Additionally, they get live stream access to the Coding with the Kiwi and Friends live stream, which is way fun.
Yep.
Additionally, anybody who subscribes to the bronze level and up gets a ForgeBox Pro and a CFCast subscription as a perk with that Patreon subscription.
Yep, it's a lot of cool stuff there, and I think it's my turn to butcher the name, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So thank you, our Patreon supporters. So thank you, John Wilson from Synaptrix, Jordan Clark, Gary Knight, Mario Rodriguez, Giancarlo Gomez, David Bellinger, Dan Card, Jonathan Perrett, Jeffrey McGee with Sunstar Media, Dean Monda, Vil de Bruin, Joseph Lamery, Don Bellamy, Jan Yannick, Laxma Tudahadi, Brian Ginanelli, Calvin Stanton, Jeremy Adams, Didier Lesnicki, Matthew Clemente, Daniel Garcia, Scott Steinbeck with Agri Tracking Systems, Ben Adele, Richard Herbert, Brett DeLine, Kai Koenig, Charlie Earhart, Jason Dager, Sean Oden, Matthew Darby, Ross Phillips, Edgardo Cabezas, Patrick Flynn, Stephanie Mondi, Kevin Wright, John Wish, and Peter and Mary. So thank you, all of you. You guys are great, and again, without you, we wouldn't be able to do all the cool things we're doing, and so we really appreciate it. And if you go to ortusolutions.com/about-/sponsors, you can see the full list there, and some of them even have pretty little pictures. So, well, another busy week. 3 weeks and counting, is it? Into the box. We're excited. Yeah. Time is ticking, and hopefully we'll see you guys there, at least in the pre-conference, hopefully at some of the workshops and the conference as well. But don't forget.
Back to the grind.
Yep. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Thanks, everybody. Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.